And welcome back to the Film Reelcast. It's podcast extra time. It means it's Hawkeye time. Back here again with Neil. Neil, how you doing, mate?
Very well, mate. Very, very well. Excited
Excellent.
to talk to you about episode 5 of
Yes, episode
Hawkeye.
5. Ronin.
Yeah,
Before we get into that, understand you've pulled your back in a tantric sex injury.
that's exactly right. Yeah. Unfortunately, the tantric sex was with myself, so it's really awkward to explain. But yeah, I've pulled my back, so I'm in quite a lot of pain. So if you hear some odd noises, which you would expect on our podcast anyway, it's probably me wincing.
Oh dear, mate. I hope that doesn't ruin your Christmas.
Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Oh, pulled back is no pleasure anytime at all whatsoever. It's so painful. So I do feel your pain, mate. I really, really do. But yeah, we spoke just very briefly. Obviously, I saw Spider-Man. No spoilers at all, but it's a brilliant film. Some bits were jaw-droppingly fantastic. The action's great. It's there. It's just so good. I recommend you stay away from social media. Anyone who really wants to go and see it, avoid any spoilers. I went in spoiler-free. I went in with Samuel, and we both had moments of high-fiving. It was so good. Really enjoyed it. Tom Holland's brilliant Spider-Man. It was the best Spider-Man film yet, in my opinion. That is.
Ooh, I
So
definitely want to watch it now. I know I
yeah,
said on our last podcast that I wasn't that bothered about it, but I have to say, the more I hear you talk about it, and I rewatched Far From Home, and I am quite excited. So I definitely want to go and see that
yeah,
as soon as possible.
definitely. Okay, so Ronin, and this is I'm kind of episode 5. One more after this. That's right, isn't it?
I believe it is only 6, isn't it? So yes.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm a bit worried of how they're gonna. It's like they're adding salad to a sandwich, ham, then they're adding mayo, then they're adding something else, and it's all good, but everything deserves a bit of a go, and I don't know how they're going to get this. But I like this. It starts with 2018, and I do like the reference to the blip. And there are some tie-ins with this. It's tying in more with Marvel, Netflix TV, and the MCU, which I really like. Because obviously, you got at the end of this. I said we'll get to it at the end, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about the
Yeah.
end of it. But the start of this, the 2018 pre-blip, and I kind of wondered where this was going, and it kind of asked a few questions, but they're carrying on her mission of brain or the unbrainwashing the Black Widow's assassins. And I did like this when they break into the house, believe that she is a Black Widow assassin who's been brainwashed, and spray that kind of red mist, the anti-venom onto her, and it turns out that she's just an assassin. And then it goes into the blip where she vanishes and comes back. I love the way they handled this. Did you?
It was very clever, wasn't it? The whole sort of bathroom scene where she disappears, then reappears, and she has no idea, but everything's changed. And then she comes out, and there's a kid and a bloke, and she's just very confused, isn't she, about what the hell's going on? And
Yeah, I think
the other,
Yelena's great, isn't
yeah,
she?
she's brilliant. She's a very good actress, isn't she? Actually, Florence Pugh. I think she's very good.
Yeah,
And yeah, the whole bit, it was a really nice touch. And obviously, she's had to tell her. Yelena that unfortunately her sister's dead, Natasha, and it's quite hard hitting for her, and it's played very well, and it does open up the episode very nicely.
yeah, and it does. I think that's what this series has done. It's opened other things up in a really straightforward, sometimes too convenient, but a very straightforward way where there's no doubt about what's happening and what they want to give the audience. And yeah, I agree. I think they dealt with that blip really well, and it's a good way to see someone's reaction of how it must have been just to vanish for 5 years and come back, and everything has changed.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I'm still unsure about her accent, her Russian accent.
Oh, it's not good.
It's just bad. Some bits it's good,
Yeah.
and she delivers a good line, and sometimes it's just like me doing an impression of someone where you can get the general idea of what the accent is, but it sounds
Yeah.
really shit.
Really? Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard finding them. It's hard hard watching them wake. But it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these ones, though, isn't it? They sound good in parts, but certain things they say, they fall out and then go back to their original sort of tone, if you like. You see it all the time, don't you, with British actors trying to be American and vice versa. And let's say Lethal Weapon is a good example of that.
It's a really good example of some terrible South African accents, isn't it?
Exactly. So, it still goes to say it's nice that they get these actors to do these parts, but I still question why they just don't get people from those countries to do the bits, because it's just always makes you laugh. But she still does it very well, I have to be honest, even though, she can't be perfect all the time, can she?
Oh, exactly. So, and it doesn't, you don't kind of, it doesn't pull you out the plot or take you away from anything. It's just, as we say, we're kind of here to nitpick different things and talk about things. So that's just one of them. But it does kind of go back into present day, where you've got, and it's a character we've questioned many a times, is Eleanor. And following the fight on the rooftop and the fact that it's getting more and more serious and it's getting real, that Clint does the right thing, a decent thing, that because Kate's only 22 and they've only known each other a week, which we are reminded of this by Kate, that you've got to take a step back, that lives are at stake, people will get killed. And she just simply, as they talk about this, they use that word collateral damage in this series, or in this episode rather. And I think he does the right thing, but I still, and it brings into more question and it highlights it more, what we've spoken about, but Eleanor's loyalties of what side she's on again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I have to say, she didn't annoy me as much in this episode. I have to be honest about that, which was quite nice, because I really couldn't stand her in the first one. I thought she completely took me out of it. But yeah, it was nice to see her playing the actually caring mother.
Okay. Oh my God. Are you okay? And why are you wearing your archery suit?
I'm okay. Does this have anything to do with Clint Barton?
Mom, no.
Clint protected me.
And obviously talking about, do you think you're a superhero? Does Clint think you're a superhero? And just basically looking after her daughter and her best interests.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it was quite nice, but obviously as the episode goes on, something I sort of mentioned in the previous has sort of come true, which I quite like.
Yeah.
I think we both sort of guessed it.
Yes.
But it was nice because obviously she says, doesn't she? She said, look, Kate goes to her, look, we found some damning evidence on Jack. Can you just do me a favour and look at it? She's not even saying it's what it is. She's just saying, please look for yourself. And it was quite nice that she actually followed that through.
Yeah, I've got so many questions about the end of this, which I'm probably going through my Matrix phase again of being a dumbass that I'm just not too sure of. But we'll get there. I mean, so Maya is obviously on this vendetta, and it's nice that Kazir's warning her, and we learn that Kazir may have his own agenda as to why he's given her a warning, and which is again revealed later on. But it's good that she's even learned her limits, and you see her from the last fight on the rooftop. She's had the real shit beaten out of her, and I don't know whether it's Clint who did this. I don't know whether it's Yelena who did this, but she's even worried because she even highlights there was someone else on the roof as well, and it's nice to see that she's got limits,
No, definitely it is. It does show that she's got a weakness, because from the first ones, obviously, where the fight scenes with her, she just kicks everyone's ass, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So it's nice to see she's not impervious. But yeah, you can see the fear in her eyes, especially. I don't know. I think it was sort of a bit of both, wasn't it? Because she ended up fighting everybody, or everyone ended up fighting everyone, didn't they?
Yeah.
So she's probably been injured by all three, really, because obviously Kate's gone in there and hit her with the arrow and everything else, hasn't she? So she's sort of thinking, shit, it's not just me versus Ronan anymore. I've got this other person to deal with, plus this young girl that obviously just will not leave Hawkeye's side. So yeah, you can see her vulnerabilities, like you say.
Yeah, I like that, and I also like the next scene of when Kate goes back to her house, and the one that's burnt down, and
Mm.
you've got Yelena there. And I really like the confidence and like the sass of Yelena. Of she knows just how deadly, how skilled she is,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a really great conversation. And when he's talking about that, I could have killed you if I wanted, and when he's talking about the weapons that she's got on her, I think it's just so much fun. I really like that, and she totally brings me back into this. She really does. She's a great character, but I don't understand the whole hiring bit of who hired who, because it just I thought this was a personal vendetta for Yelena um against Clint, thanks
Well,
to Valentina at the end of Black Widow, but it doesn't appear to be that case. It's confusing.
yeah, because that's what I thought. Because obviously she said she was here to kill Clint Barton, and I have to just quickly say the acting in this scene is amazing. Accent aside, from Kate and they were fantastic. You could see how scared Kate was, but she was trying not to be scared. She was trying to be confident and sort of say, look, just get to the point and stuff. And the way that Ilana kept just saying Kate Bishop over and over again, and then reeled off all the information about her, and basically really hitting home. And she was nice, but there was that undertone of I could kill you at any time.
Kate Bishop.
What do you want?
Relax, Kate Bishop. I just want to talk, okay? I'm not going to hurt you. I promise. I don't have any weapons on me. Okay, I take that back. I don't have any weapons currently in my hands. That's a lie also.
And
Yeah,
I'm not actually a nice, but it was fantastic.
yeah, good call. I really completely agree with you, mate.
Yeah,
She nailed it. Both of them nailed it. To be honest,
yeah,
they've done so well. I'm really liking Kate. I think we both started off with kind of fucking hell. This is going to be hard work if Kate's going to be like this all the time. But for
I
me, she
completely
just
agree.
gets better.
I completely agree. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because she says, "Oh, I'm here to kill Clint Barton," blah blah blah, and sort of goes on about Natasha, and then all of a sudden she turns around and says, "I've been hired." And it's what I don't understand why she's telling Kate all of this.
No,
It doesn't make any sense. I know it's obviously a plot driver, but ultimately there's no reason for this conversation to happen other
no,
than the fact that she wants to protect Kate from being anything to do with Clint, which again I can't understand why she would do that either.
no. It's really strange. I kind of get that she's a deadly assassin, and
Mm.
the innocent. She won't kill the innocent. So this is her only warning. Stay away. But then, as you said, she then goes on that rant of he killed my sister, and he doesn't. He carries on as if he's a hero, where my sister is the one that saved the world, and your judgment is clouded, and he's only told you what you need to hear. I get all of that because she's so bitter, but the way she's saying it appears personal.
Yeah.
But clearly, she's been hired pre this, and I don't. And as far as I was concerned, it's someone wants that watch, and the only reason why Clint's involved is because of that watch. That is the only reason why. So
Yeah.
the personal vendetta, Yelena's got that, but then someone's hired her, whether it's pre-watch, because at the end of Black Widow, Valentina walks up to Yelena at the grave and says, "I've got an assignment for you. Do you want to kill the guy who killed your sister?" So from
Right.
from Black Widow, there's a vendetta. So I don't get the whole hiring bit in this and the whole disclosure of this is what I'm going to do. Unless it comes around again in the next episode, I honestly don't know why. Unless I'm missing something clearly.
All I can think of is they're trying to tie this series in with the end of that film,
Yeah.
so to speak. Potentially, that obviously we find out later who's hired Yolana, but maybe it's running along the same timeline of that. That's the only way I can kind of make it work in my mind, because otherwise, you're right, completely right. If she's already been told who to kill, sort of thing, but potentially the person at that point of the film is where we are now within this series, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
Because
it's
obviously, yeah.
I don't get
But
it.
there again, I don't get that either, because obviously Black Widow's set back a few years, isn't it? So
Yeah,
yeah.
and if
Oh no, it doesn't make sense. No, sorry.
no, because there seems to be two separate missions, doesn't there? That
Yeah,
her
yeah,
vendetta, and then someone's hired her coincidentally for the same mission
yeah.
that
No,
she's on already. But yeah, maybe it'll come out in the next one. But again, even at the end of this, we'll talk about this further. It
yeah,
doesn't make sense. But
no.
I mean, it does play into. I think it does play into Eleanor's hands that Jack then still comes across as a complete idiot. Gets arrested for kind of tax fraud and things like that. And I think of the opinion, I don't know whether you are, that Elena has set him up for this as a matter of convenience. Or do you think he actually is involved?
No, I think he is involved. I think he is. It's just, I think it's the way for Eleanor to sort of keep her sort of her guard up, her interests up, so to speak. So she obviously didn't know about Jacques and his involvement with obviously the red tracksuit gang or whatever they're called.
Yeah, tracksuit
Those
mafia.
idiots. Yeah, tracksuit mafia. So, and obviously she's trying to keep Kate on side, and she's obviously got her own interests. So I think that Jack has got something to do with it in that sense. I don't think Eleanor has anything to do with the tracksuit mafia.
I know. I think that Eleanor's set. I think Eleanor has set up Jack in this whole situation
Oh,
because
really?
yeah, this is I'm probably way off target. A bit like my boys urinating down the toilet, where they just seem to go on the floor, and it's like a more of a skill where they can get it on the floor and actually nothing in the toilet, which is an amazing skill. I'm probably that off target, but I think because you get that look when they're cuddling, when Kate gets out the lift and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." She goes, "No, you were right." Then she has that tropey look that they have in all these films when it's like, "I'm on your side." No, I'm not. Longing look, and she goes, "Don't worry about it." And I think that Kate's forced Eleanor's hand because she's
Yeah.
then disclosed that earlier that Jack's involved in this. Right, I'll get Jack out of the way. This will get Kate closer to me because, as far as I know, at the moment, she's now not even with Clint Barton. So everything's going her way, and that's what I think. But it'll be interesting to see because Christ knows there's so many twists in this, isn't there? That
There is, yeah. I completely. You could be right, and I could be. We don't know. I think you've got a very good idea there, but I still think that there's something obviously fishy with him, and yeah, you probably are. You're right that she's using him in a way to get closer to Kate, definitely, and protect her. But what, like you say, we'll have to find out, won't we? It's
yeah, one episode
exciting.
left. Bring it
Yeah.
on, and you get Clint in New York by the monument of when the Battle of New York, and he's talking to Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow, and I found this really sad because I still miss her. When I watch these films, I still really miss Iron Man. I really miss Cap. I really miss Natasha. They're such great characters, and I'm still so gutted that we're just not going to see them anymore. I really, really am.
Yeah, it was a touching scene, wasn't it? To be fair, he played it very well, and it is sad because you're right; they were massive parts of the franchise, weren't they? And we sort of fell in love with them in a way, didn't we? In the sense of
Definitely.
we enjoyed watching them and follow, and all the things you do as a fan of something. So it does really hit it home that that's it. We're never gonna see them again.
Absolute bastards. Really, absolute bastards making that decision. I could not believe it. But what did you think? You have that touching moment where Clint's like, "I'm really sorry for what I'm going to do," and then he just walks off, hood up, and he means business. He's going to go back Ronin and just start killing people. And then it takes you to Kate, who's in the bedroom, who then just leaves message after message after message, because she looks at her medals and thinks, "I just need to help Clint, regardless of what Elena said. My mission, my loyalties are to help him, and I can make that difference," which I like. And I'm so used to her goofiness now; it really didn't bother me at all.
No, that's the thing. I think her character has become really quite interesting, and the way she plays it. And yeah, I had no issue with this at all. It was nice. It was a bit stalkery, weird that she just kept phoning him over and over again, but it was still quite funny. And no, I had no issue with it at all. It was nice to see that even though everything that's happened to her, and all the danger she's been put in, and the fact that she's been shunned by Clint to protect her, and she had an assassin warn her off, she's still willing to put her life on the line to help who she thinks is, a good guy, if you like.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, it starts to get bad. I think Clint even rings his wife, his Laura, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, with Thelma, that it's getting serious, and it's almost as if he's asking permission, that he knows that he's got no other choice but to start having to go around killing people again, which is something that he's obviously pledged that he won't do, but he feels he's backed into a corner and he's got no choice. And it's as if he's looking for permission, and she even says to him, "You don't even need to call me for permission. I know that's what you're asking for." And I like this scene between them two, even though they're not together in person. It's still a really powerful scene.
Oh, definitely. You can tell their relationship is so tight, can't you? And obviously, family means everything to him, and that's obviously pointed out to us a lot, isn't it, throughout the films after the blip and everything else. And he mentions the fact that obviously they've got the watch, and obviously the watch will lead them to his family, and they've been looking up who she and the children are and stuff like that. So in his mind, the only way he can stop his family being killed is to go around and kill those people, because they're not listening to his warnings. And it's nice that they've got such a relationship that he can phone her up and say, "Look, this is what's happening and I have to sort it out." And she's, "Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and I trust you." And it's it's nice. It really does show their relationship, and I think that's a very good thing about this series. Though it started off quite goofy and stuff like that, the connections between people within this and the way they've portrayed, if I could speak, relationships has been brilliant.
Yeah, completely. And he even references the big man, doesn't he? Obviously,
yes.
Going to the Kingpin. But yeah, it's a very, very powerful scene. And he arranges a meet with not with Elena, with Maya, to for once and for all just deal with this. Messages have been given, warnings have been given, nothing's been listened to. And I really like the stealthy start when the meet's been arranged. He knows full well that she's not going to come alone, that the goons are going to be there. And I do love it when he goes around and takes them out one by one. I love scenes like this. They're so tropey and been done before, but I always get a buzz off this.
Oh, definitely. The goons, I'm starting to kind of come on board with how thick they are, and sort of the comedy element. To begin with, like I said, I wasn't a massive fan of it, but I'm sort of coming on board with it a bit more now. Like when he shoots the arrow through the window to send the message, and he goes, "Well, I'm not Mayor." It's like, fucking, it's such a dick. And even the bloke looks at him going, "What are you talking about?" But no.
I completely agree. I think it's because they're constantly stupid, aren't they? This is just the way they are. It's not a one-off.
Yeah, exactly. It is a complete. Yeah, you've just got to sort of run with it, haven't you? Otherwise, it will just frustrate you to the point of not wanting to watch it. So just take it and run with it. But no, it's interesting because obviously she does bring a crew along, doesn't she, to meet with Clint or whoever this guy is that she's going to meet. And why do they come out from behind the cars and stuff like that rather than start? It's just that doesn't make any sense to me at all. No. But it is a very good scene, the fact that he takes out Kazi on the roof and then beats everybody up, and then it's just them two. And the fight scene's very good.
Oh, it's brilliant fight scene, really well choreographed, and it's so good. So, and you can tell they're both going for it. There's no holding back. They hate each other. There's just so much hatred there. And Clint, to be fair, is an older guy, and he really, really holds his own. We've seen just how violent, how skilled Mayor is. It's a great fight. Really, really is.
It is.
And he does get the best of her, and he takes her down, and that's when he tells her that he was tipped off. It was an informant to basically the night that they met, an informant who works for your boss was tipped off, and she doesn't believe that whatsoever. He thinks that she knew he was Ronin and she wants to kill him even more, but her boss wanted her father dead, and she doesn't believe that. And it was obvious, and I knew it was coming when I watched this with Samuel. I said, in a minute, she's going to get the better of him, but Kate's going to be there. Sure enough, that was the case. But I like that. Kate had her moment, and she saved Clint's life again. But it's great that there's another twist, that there's an informant, and obviously it's Kazir, and Maya knows that because when she meets him again, she asks him, "Where were you that night of the meet? Why weren't you there?" And she knows he's lying, doesn't she?
Oh, definitely. And to be fair, he does not do very well, does he, when he's under questioning? You would not want him to be the guy that's captured and to not give up the secrets, because he's going to spill it straight away.
100%.
He's useless. When you say, "Oh, where were you? You were my dad's number 2. You know, why weren't you at this meet?" And he just goes, "Oh, I don't know. I was on the phone." I mean, what? Why? Why would you say that? You know, I mean, it's good acting, but yeah, Christ Almighty, he does not do well under pressure. That boy.
No, he's got so many months or years waiting for this moment of when he's going to be asked that question, and that's the answer he comes back to.
So, phone call. I was on the John.
It's really terrible. Really is.
It was awful. But yeah, it does pave way to Maya. Obviously, I suspect she'll still have a vendetta against Clint, but she, on a personal level, for killing her father. However, I suspect she'll be more interested.
An episode of that now, don't we?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They'll either run with it, or they'll sort of leave it for a while. I don't know, because honestly, I can't sit. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I cannot see how they're going to end this in an episode without it just going on to a cliffhanger like Loki. I really can't. I cannot see how they're, especially with what happens at the end, how they're going to do it in one episode. It's impossible.
No, I really agree. I mean, it's really nice in the Uber on the way back with Clint and with Kate, when he, funnily enough, she tells him, "Elena's here. She wants to kill you. She went to see me." So he knows already that he's or she's after him, and he clearly knows just how dangerous she is. And then it goes to, you've got Elena following Eleanor, and it kind of, this really just confuses me. I mean, Elena looks absolutely stunning, doesn't she? She really does. It's nice to see her all dressed up, and she follows her into a hotel, and it turns out she's taken pictures of the person, and she sends the message to Kate. This is the person. I found who hired me, and it's Eleanor Bishop. I thought you deserved to know. And then she sends that picture, and that picture turns out to be Kingpin, which is Vincent D'Onofrio from the Daredevil series, who was absolutely incredible. The best villain. He's so good. Have you seen Daredevil?
No, I haven't, and I need to.
It's just brilliant. As the seasons went on, it kind of went meh, but the first couple of seasons were just so good. Seriously, the Matt Murdock, the choreography was fantastic. Just full-on violent fighting. Really, really good. I cannot recommend that enough. And he played Kingpin there. Brilliant villain. Just, again, really menacing, really violent. Such a massive screen presence. But I'm confused, as in, how did Elena hire how did Eleanor hire Elena? What am I missing? I don't understand.
I don't know. I have to be honest, when this picture came through, a little bit we came out because of how excited I was about it. It really was like, oh wow, this is really gonna sort of kick off now, sort of it's going up a notch. But I don't know, it's obvious that, to me, or not obvious, but to me, Elena works for Kingpin. That's my opinion. So she's obviously said, look, I've got this issue with Clint coming in, and my daughter's off doing this, and blah blah blah. And she's obviously heavily involved, more than she made out in the first bits of being this sort of dumbass. and he's obviously saying, right, okay, let's here's the number for these assassins or whatever, hire them and they'll sort your problem out. That's how I've seen it, but I could be way off the mark.
Because when were they kind of? When did she hire him? Because she was on that mission anyway. From when at the grave, when Valentina said, "I've got an assignment for you." So, and if they're going back to the fact that even back then her assignment from Valentina was the fact that Elena hired or Elena was hired, sorry, by
Yeah.
Elena. Fucking hell, this
Yeah.
is confusing. What was the motivation to hire her back then? And if that isn't the case, when was Elena hired? I don't understand this. It's really, really confusing. And as I say, I don't know. Well, people are listening to this thinking, Christ's sake, Stuart, you fucking clown. But I just don't understand when it's all meant to have happened.
Was it a mission at the end of Black Widow, or was it just, this is the guy that killed Natasha?
Well, she said, I've got your next mission.
Oh,
So
right.
I watched it. Or your next assignment, she said, 'cause I watched it this morning. And then she gets an iPad out and shows her a picture of Clint on the iPad.
Couldn't remember the exact wording, but if that's what she said, then yeah, that doesn't make sense at all, does it? I honestly don't know when and how it's all sort of I don't know. I don't quite understand it, to be honest.
No, it's weird, but I'm really pleased that Vincent D'Onofrio is in it because that role as a Kingpin was great. And as I say, anyone who's not seen Daredevil, it's so good. I mean, you've got Foggy in it. It's brilliant, really, really good. And the fact they're tying this into it, and it really appears that they're now linking in so many different ways, bringing so many different characters in from the Netflix, from Disney Plus TV series into the MCU.
Yeah.
And it's very, very exciting, which again is why I recommend that people now go and see Spider-Man before any spoilers are released on social media, because you get the idiots who just want to be the ones to spoil it. But
yeah, true.
It's confusing as it is exciting, and I just don't get it. And I did drop a lot of hints before, which I didn't pick up on, but I'm really pleased they brought this baddie into it. But again, you've got Kingpin, you've got Elena, you've got Jack. How are they? And you've obviously got Maya. 5 characters. How are they going to tie this up in 40 minutes?
Like I said, I cannot see it. I cannot see it. Something's going to happen, obviously, next. That's going to be massive. But I don't know. I honestly can't see this ending in one episode. I'm so excited to see what direction they're going to go in.
Yeah.
I really am. It's, I have to be honest, these MCU series have been brilliant. There's not been many that have been rubbish. I've been interested to watch each and every one of them. I suppose the only one that I didn't particularly enjoy as much was WandaVision, but I still enjoyed it, but it was my least favourite out of all of them. And this one has just gripped me completely. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. This has been my favourite, I have to say. And it's weird because WandaVision is my second favourite. I really, really enjoyed WandaVision. I thought it was so good. It's just fantastic the way. The worst one is Loki. That was, might as well just put Doctor Who on. It was just terrible.
No, see, I liked Loki. I liked it. The twists and turns, and I really like the guy that plays Loki. I think his acting's fantastic. And Tom Hiddleston, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Clive Owen was very good. I really enjoyed that sort of.
You always call it Clive Owen from Shoot 'Em Up.
Yeah, Clive Owen, fucking idiot.
Owen Wilson.
Wilson. Sorry. He's I loved that series. And obviously Falcon and the Winter Soldier was just the best for me. But yeah, this is a close second, I think, to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Wow, it's so good that opinions differ, isn't it? I really love that.
I think it depends what characters you can sort of get on board with, isn't it? At the end of the day, and what type of thing. It's like anything. It depends what you like. At the end of the day, it's like you said. Did you watch the series of Daredevil? And I didn't, and the reason for that is the film that was released years ago ruined it for me.
I completely agree.
It was such a bad film that I've never really wanted to pick that franchise back up again.
Yeah. Totally. It is very, very good. It's brilliant. It's the best one they've done out of all of that. Of Luke Cage, Jessica Jones.
Oh,
And
really?
I mean, Iron Fist terrible anyway, but it's by far the best, and it's a real gutter when Netflix dropped it. But it looks like it's getting a massive kickstart, and I'm really excited. This is so good. So next week, it'll be so interesting to see whether we're sat here just miserable because they completely ruined the whole series with a crappy ending, trying to fit it all in, and all they leave us wanting more. So
I hope it's the latter.
Just be interesting. Definitely,
I hope it's the latter. But
we'll
so have to see.
It's going well. It's good directions, and I'm really, really pleased. And you seem of the same opinion, mate, which is fantastic.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more, to be honest.
Excellent stuff. Well, we're not too sure when the next podcast will be done. Obviously, Christmas is very soon. Hopefully, we can get one out next week. I'm always available. I know you are. So be interested to see what we're going to put out next week. If we don't put anything out for any particular reason, everyone have a really good Christmas. Thanks again for everyone's support. And it's just been really, really good. And I cannot wait to talk about the last episode of Hawkeye. So have a good one, guys. And we'll be back very soon. Thanks very much.